Welcome to our first roundtable of February. Does that mean there's 6 more weeks of winter?
Red Sox disappointment coming?
Well, of course. Joining us are Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh, Republican political analyst Rob Gray. Great to have you with us. Let's start with the LG. She was sitting in a chair this morning. She's been in the office for a year, right? Mm-hmm. Calendar year. What's your takeaway?
I thought she did a great job explaining what their administration's policy is regarding migrants and how they're housing them, but not just in the immediate, looking down the road. Like, they're already looking at May. They're already looking at the summer. They're looking at other things they have to do to help deal with this situation. But everyone knows at the end, they need money from Washington.
They need money from Washington, Rob.
They do. I mean, she downplayed the migrant issue. I mean, this is really roiling people, roiling voters. It's blowing a hole in the Massachusetts budget. There's $1 billion deficit that we've just found out about it, and it's going to cost us $1 billion to care for migrants. So that issue is not going away, even though she says that the shelters will close next spring.
Yeah. And looking at potential other locations as well, it seems. All right, election year politics seem to be blowing up any chance for consequential new legislation. Former President Donald Trump stuck a knife in a border bill after the Senate worked on it for months. Now, the House overwhelmingly passed a bipartisan tax bill that would increase the child tax credit, but the Senate is pushing back. Trump and many other Republicans don't want to give the President Biden, a win that could hurt them in November. What do you think about this, Rob?
This is Washington Republican insider stupidity, and I think President Trump is the chief dunce. I mean, they are snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. They have number one, it's the wrong policy thing to do. The very conservative senator from Oklahoma, Republican, is in favor of this and saying, do it. It's the best border bill we could get. Instead of doing it, which is the right policy thing, they're going to take the political issue away, because now Joe Biden could say Republicans stopped it. If
People
in fact
want to
they
see
do.
something done about
They
this.
want to see something done. I mean, it's a number one issue for voters.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, once again, the Republicans in Congress are standing at the House fire they started, wanting to know why someone's not coming to put out the fire they started. And everyone knows they'd rather pick a fight than fix a problem. But here's what's going to happen. The Senate's going back into session tomorrow. They're going to pass the border bill and maybe funding for Ukraine and Israel. And then they're going to say to the House, you want this tax package passed by us? You need to pass what we just voted on in terms of the border. And that's the deal. Now, if that happens, all right, now we got things moving again. But it's also the right thing to do.
And to be fair, Biden deserves the blame. Biden deserves the blame, but Republicans are going to flip it on themselves.
All right, let's take a look at some numbers. There's a lot of talk about a new Quinnipiac poll on the presidential race, so we're going to share it with you. The poll of registered voters put Joe Biden ahead of Donald Trump, 50-44. Gender was a big factor. Women supported Biden 58 to 36%. Independents also lean toward Biden. Snapshot in time, Marianne, or is there more than that here?
Women are really angry, and they're going to get more and more angry the closer we get
Well,
to
a month
November.
ago, that poll was a toss-up.
Yeah, well, so here's one fun fact for everybody at home. Everyone knows that Trump and the Republicans are stopping abortion rights. 26,000 women plus in Texas were raped and became pregnant from the rape, and they were denied abortion services in Texas. Women understand that Trump and the Republicans are coming for them. Abortion's only the first thing, and there are more rights that they're going to try to take away. And they're starting to realize that when facts like that come out.
Rob?
Well, I think it's just one poll, and I think we have to be careful at this point. There was a CNN poll also that had Trump up 4. That same poll had Nikki Haley up 13. Joe Biden's numbers in terms of job approval, fave on fave, are the lowest of an incumbent president in a very, very long time. It's still a toss-up that could go either way.
And it's still early February, too. Yeah,
that's right.
Yep.
Still have a long way to go, which brings us to Taylor Swift, the mega world spinning conspiracy theories about Swift, her boyfriend Travis Kelce, the Super Bowl, you name it. Right-wing pundits telling Swift to stay out of politics, President Biden hoping for an endorsement. What is happening here, Marianne?
MAGA men are so threatened by Taylor Swift that they launched a campaign against her. First, they put AI-generated nude images of her on X and online. And then the next thing they did is they came up with a government conspiracy that the government was trying to make sure that Taylor Swift endorsed Joe Biden at the halftime of the Super Bowl. I mean, come on. What this is really about is trying, if they can put Taylor Swift in her place, one of the most powerful women in the world, then it's easy to put every other woman in place too.
Rob?
All right, I've been to some Taylor Swift shows. So.
You have.
Yeah, more than a few.
Well, you went the rainy one in Foxborough, though.
That's right, I was.
You were. There you go.
So I can tell you, as Taylor Swift would say, the MAGA world, you need to calm down because how dumb are they? Again, my theme, dumb Republicans in Washington, and I'm the Republican here. She is the most popular, one of the most popular, if not the most, women in the country. Why are you taking her on? This makes no sense.
All right.
It was even Belichick that said after the show in Foxborough, she's tough, man. She is just flat out tough. Well, it's interesting how the conversation of the Super Bowls continues to revolve around her.
I mean, she'll endorse Biden again. She did last time.
Yeah.
So what?
She had more success at Gillette than Belichick did this year.
All right.